The following video clips were created by the Tertiary Education Commissions from selected 2010 Pūtea Pikiako projects for teachers and kaiako who work with tertiary students in Tauira and want to learn more about the perspectives, views and understandings they bring with them. These resources complement the learning progressions for adult literacy and numeracy by suggesting links to Mātauranga Māori and Pacifica worldviews. The approach taken to teaching and learning adult literacy and numeracy uses a three-point model: knowing the demand, knowing the learner, and knowing what to do. He Huarahi Whakamarama, the pathway to enlightenment. This project is supporting Māori students, especially those who have come from a kura kaupapa background, to succeed in tertiary learning. Matapuna is a Gisborne-based PTE with a 98% Māori learner profile. It has adopted a whole-of-organisation approach which integrates Māori pedagogies into unit standards to better meet the needs of Māori learners. A wealth of resources have been developed for tutors, staff and the wider tertiary sector. These link learning about computing to te ao Māori, the Māori world, and embed key values such as manaakitanga and whanaungatanga into classroom learning. What was the title of your project?
Our project was called He Huarahi Whakamarama, which means a pathway to enlightenment. It was about embedding literacy and numeracy into the National Certificate in Computing across levels 1 to 3 for learners who come directly from Mātauranga Māori environments.
So how much of a need was there for it?
Well, we actually had students that really needed support that had come from kura kaupapa, and in terms of need, in the particular computing class that the students were enrolled in, maybe 3 out of the 10 to 12 students. We're still learning. We developed a whole lot of resources for our kaiako, for students to use. We developed a computer glossary called Huinga Kupu Rorohiko, which we're quite proud of. It's quite sort of, it's fresh. It's got a youthful look. We've put in a pepeha, which is an interactive close and a writing frame. What's good about the Huinga Kupu is that we've got the word, the vocabulary, then the definition, and then we've got the kupu whakamarama. What's really good about it is that it can actually be translated into Samoan, Tongan, or whatever language. And the other thing about it is that it promotes Māori language for both people, English-speaking people, and obviously people from kura kaupapa won't necessarily need to use it, but they could see the definition in English, which would be, quite helpful to them.
So what did you learn along the way?
In terms of the He Huarahi Whakamarama project, we based the concept around the embedding framework of knowing the learner, knowing what to do, knowing the learner, knowing the demands, and knowing what to do. And I guess that was our kind of like starting point as well.
So how do you measure the success of this project?
Well, obviously we've got the LAT tool. We did actually put some people through the LAT last year, which is the Literacy and Assessment tool. And certainly there's been some difference in terms of where people have moved from. So it might have been step 2 and they're now on step 3 or 4. The other way that you can measure success is in terms of attendance. If students are more engaged, they attend. Achievement is likely to be higher in terms of like achieving their national certificates. Like some of the resources, like the subject area is computing. And quite often we just use the resources that are there. But if you think about, if you make the link to Te Ao Māori, you can actually link. Why not make get the computer student to do their pepeha on as a PowerPoint presentation with a picture, a photograph of their awa and their mountain, and also insert photographs of their tipuna or their whānau into their PowerPoint presentation about their pepeha. Quite often people can just recite it, but for the computer student, if you link Te Ao Māori to the computing, it adds value to the learning. Another example is in terms of a computer activity, the student makes up their CV. And to link Te Ao Māori to that is that they can put their whakapapa into their CV, particularly for jobs that they might, if they're applying for a job with a Māori organisation or a government organisation. So just making the link to Te Ao Māori. Another example is where, they have to do research as part of an exercise. So what they would do is, why not research the iwi website?
So what advice would you give to others who want to follow this example?
Well, I've probably got 3 key bits of advice. One is make the link to Te Ao Māori. If you've got a high percentage of Māori learners, use Māori pedagogies. If you're an employer, we took a bit of a whole of an organisation approach. Computing is only one area. We have a 98% Māori profile at Matapuna, so youth profile, I should say. We employ quite a few, 98% Māori staff. We've got about 4 of our Māori staff who speak Te Reo fluently. Some of the Māori pedagogies, Māori paradigms like whakawhanaungatanga, manaakitanga, that's embedded into it's kind of integrated into our organisational kaupapa. When we've got a policy to the Treaty of Waitangi at a governance level, we've got an operational policy to kaupapa Matapuna that we work with. So, some of our concept was built around the Te Whare Tapa Whā model of taha wairua, taha tinana, taha hinengaro. We haven't reached our destination. We're still developing resources. We've created a whole heap of resources that we feel would be useful to not only our staff, our tutors, but also to others in the sector, because it means that they don't have to actually develop those resources, and they can take them away and use them.